So I got this Blackstar HT1R Mark I that I really love. It's a 1 watt tube amplifier that I use to practice at home. And it's got good sounding headphone output with speaker emulation and auxiliary input, so I can play along with the music that I listen to. So I really like the amp, but alongside the pros it has some cons. One thing is that it has 2 channels, but it shares the volume and the gain knob with the 2 channels. And for some good cleans you have to almost set the gain to 0. And the channel switch is placed in such a way that when you press it, you almost always hit the volume knob, which is set quite low as well for home practicing. And it changed the volume quite a bit. And it hasn't got a foot switch input, because it's the first version of the Blackstar HT1. And the second version, or the Mark II version, does have foot switch input, but this one hasn't. So I got the solution with the Boss Line Selector, or the LS2. And this thing is a bit of a Swiss Army knife. You can switch between 2 inputs or outputs or effect chains, and you can set the volume for both inputs or outputs or effects loop, whatever you want it. When nothing is connected, you can switch between 2 volume presets as it is. My guitar is going into the Boss LS2 and then into the Blackstar amp. And the Blackstar amp is on the dirty channel, and the gain knob is almost set to 0, so it has a slight crunch. The Boss Line Selector on the green channel, the volume pot is almost at 0, so it has a really nice clean sound. Sounds like this. So now when you set it to the red channel, the volume knob is almost fully open. So in this way you can switch between 2 gain stages as it is. So in this mode you have 2 separate gain settings as it is. But there's also a third option, because now I switch between A and B, but you can also set it to AB or bypass mode. And now you got a third option, because when it's bypassed, it's set the volume at noon. So now you got a nice crunch setting. And set it to clean. And set it to lead. And you can also achieve this effect with another pedal, which is the Zoom Multistomp. Let me switch it over. So the Zoom Multistomp is also quite a bit of a Swiss Army knife in its own way. It has a bunch of bread and butter effects. CDR stands for chorus, delay, and reverb. So it's supposed to be an effect that's placed in the effects loop of your amp, so post gain. It's still in stock mode, so I haven't hacked it yet for the other effects. So there's no dirt or distortion effects on it. It also has the Line Selector effect, and it works a little different than the Boss version, because this effect turns on all the effects at once that are placed after the Line Selector. And it has 2 volume knobs as well. And when you bypass it, it goes back to full volume, which is 150 right now. It's a unity gain at around 100, so it's boosting quite a bit. And the nice thing about this thing is that you can add other effects. So I've made a preset that has some other effects. So the first one is a noise reduction, because it can become kind of noisy sometimes. And another effect is a equalizer, and this equalizer kind of mimics the EQ curve of a Tubescreamer. So I've set it in such a way that it boosts frequencies around 630 Hertz, and it cuts the low frequencies. So it's kind of, yeah, similar to a Tubescreamer EQ curve. And it also has a tuner, which I could use right now. Yeah, my guitar is kind of off. And as I've mentioned before, you can add effects after the Line Selector, and it bypasses them all at once when you press the button. So what I've done when you set it to clean mode is that I've added another equalizer. So I've set this EQ so that it flattens out the other EQ curve that has the Tubescreamer kind of vibe. So what it does now is, in full gain mode, it has the Tubescreamer kind of EQ, and when it's in clean mode, it boosts some frequencies that sound good when it's clean. You can take it a step further and add in a Detune effect. So when it's in clean mode, it has a nice chorusy kind of Detune sound. So now I've switched guitars, and this is my Ibanez, and it has active pickups. So when you switch it to clean mode, you can hear it's still kind of crunchy. So I have to dial the clean volume even further back. So on my Stratocaster it was on volume 5 and now it's on volume 2. And the nice thing about Zoom Multistomp is that it also has a pitch shifter, because this guitar is in E flat, and when I practice songs that are, you know, in standard tuning, I can switch on the pitch shifter. So this is how I use the Boss LS2 or the Zoom Multistomp as a fake channel switch for my Blackstar amplifier. That has a channel switch, but yeah, it's kind of inconvenient. So that's why I use the pedals to switch between the channels in another way, and not adding a distortion pedal, because Blackstar sounds great on its own. Why would you add a distortion to that?